this is probably the easiest time ever in history to be a contractor and start a building business or a plumbing business and take off.
It's Wednesday. It's another episode of the Skid Steer Nation podcast, where we dive deep into the world of construction, machinery, and countless stories of the people and owners behind the projects. Normally, we focus on the land and the dirt work and the nitty gritty of the earth moving side. And today our guest is really not involved in that aspect of it. He is in home construction, remodeling, and decks. But again, the business principles are the business principles. He's grown a team pretty quickly. He's had the pitfalls, the highs, the lows. So I'm excited to dive into this, learn about some of the systems he's put in place to be able to scale and grow with such a great crew, and learn from him. David Kasavan owns Kasavan Construction. He is from Salina, California.
Salinas, yeah.
Salina.
Close.
Salina. Well,
Salinas, yeah.
On that note, David, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, sir. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to get you on here. I think we were just talking before we started recording that I found you through your TikTok videos.
Right.
And I think we were just scrolling through it. Obviously, construction and dirt work kind of goes hand in hand. So they just threw it in the algorithm, of course. But the video I found was like you talking about developing a strong relationship and trust with your subcontractors. So that way you have your guy, your flooring guy, your tile guy, plumbing guy, and you don't have to get three bids. They give you fair prices. You guys learn to work together, move forward. And there was just a lot in that little video that I was like, this guy gets it. And I want to have him as a guest on the show.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I just call it the A-team, man. I don't play the games. I just don't think that there's any point in doing that. Sometimes you get clients that want, I want 3 concrete bids and 3 roofing bids. I said, look, I'll give you mine. That gets you one. If you want to play the game and go out and get your own, that's fine. But I've worked hard to establish these relationships. I got really good guys. They don't play the game out here in Monterey County. There's not very many tradesmen in general. So you're not going to get a wide variety of quality workers anyways. So if you want to play the game, go ahead. And it's just, I don't know. It's just a belief that I have now being in it. I mean, I haven't even been in it that long, but I figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Cause take me back. Your father and your grandfather were both architects, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So my grandfather started his architectural firm in 1949.
Jesus.
And then my father took over the business in 1994. And my dad's actually still an active practicing architect. He does big commercial government jobs. Like he's got a hospital job right now. He's working on like a juvenile hall. He's working on a couple of schools. So he does the big jobs. I don't even want to touch that at all. I don't want to stack of paperwork up to my eyeballs. I'm good. I just stick with my residential stuff. But basically, it's in my blood to build. And I tell people that I'm born to build because, I got their legacy to kind of keep it going.
So when did you learn or discover, I should say, that the hammer fit in your hand better than the mouse pad for AutoCAD?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was never really good in school. So maybe I would say, I don't know, elementary school, middle school. I was never really good I didn't get good grades. I think I graduated. I barely graduated high school. I think I got like C's and D's, and I just loved being outside. I liked talking with people. I was a very social kind of guy. I really liked just kind of meeting people and going and having experiences. And I never really thought I would end up in the trades. Actually, I saw how stressed out my father was on a daily basis. And I just was like, why would I want to deal with that? That's no fun. And I think I got a job when I was 18 years old, just stacking hay bales at a horse barn and kind of working with my hands like that. And it was fun. I got to go home on Friday nights. I had some beer money, and then I had a bunch of contractors kind of offering me jobs. They saw me work there and they're like, you work hard, you want to come work? And eventually I ended up getting a job in construction. And it's just like, I fell in love with it. I was 21 years old. I think I was 20 or 21. I can't remember. And just fell in love with it. And I was making more money than my buddies that were in college. I was going to visit them and I'm buying them food and buying them beer. And it was just, it was like a light switch went off. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I can't sit at a computer. I'm not good at writing down stuff. I'm not a very paper organized kind of guy. I never really have been. But I fell in love with framing and building and sitting on lunch break and looking at this, these 2 rooms, these all like 8 walls I framed in 4 hours. And I've got a shirt off in the summertime, blasting AC/DC. I'm like, this is cool as hell. Yeah,
there's something about being able to see
it out pretty early.
Yeah, there's something about being able to see your progress.
Exactly.
I think like it's a common theme I hear with a lot of the guys we talk to and interview is that, the reward is in the actual visual. So
Right.
that's awesome.
Right.
And then you just decided, I'm assuming it took you a while to make the decision, but in 2018, you went all in on yourself and started Kasavan Construction, right?
Yeah. I'd say probably within the first year of my first job in construction, when I was 20 or 21, I can't remember. It might've been right in between there. But I think within the first year of having that experience and seeing my boss at the time show up in his brand new truck, looking sharp on the phone, like just looked important. His lumber racks were stacked full of wood and just like looked important. I think it was few instances where I saw him like that. I said, I want to be that guy. I want to do that. And I had the intention of that. I mean, I worked for a bunch of different contractors throughout the 5 or 6 years before I got my license, but I always knew at that moment, I think it took about a year, but after that, I knew that I was going to end up getting my license, and I was kind of planning and like strategizing how I was going to do it. And I was super young. I think I was 26. I was 26 when I got my license in 2018. So, I just wasn't afraid. I had a lot of guys saying, you should just wait, work for other GCs. You should have 10, 12 years working with them, not the bare minimum 5 that you need to qualify to get your license. And I just said, screw all of you. I don't really care what you think. I'm going to go for it.
I love that, man. People will do their damnedest to guide you into what they think's best for you. And sometimes it's hard to like cut that noise out and just trust your gut and follow your mission and purpose. So good for you.
100%. Yeah, I honestly kind of looked at it like it was motivating to me. I'm like, you guys, all this doubt you guys have and saying I can't do it makes me want to do it that much more. Like, just watch me. At the end of the day, I'm going to do it regardless of what you say. I don't really care. And it was just that much more fulfilling when I made it happen. And all of them like, oh, congrats. And I'm like, yeah, you're telling me congrats now that I got the license number on the side of my truck, huh? Yeah. What happened like 6 months ago?
I have a good friend of mine. He started a construction company. He did this probably 25 years ago, but he was left as a union operator for a large construction company here in town to go start his own business. He had talked to all of his brothers because they all work for the same company. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. Like we don't need these guys. We can go do our own work and we can get our contracts. So he quit the job, went to go start his company, and all of his brothers like, we're just going to wait and make sure you make it before we leave. So,
oh, wow. Yeah. And he probably did just fine.
3 months later, all the brothers quit, came to work for him, and they ran. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I love to hear it. Yeah. It's funny how that works. And then like people come out of the woodworks. I got people I haven't talked to in years. Like I haven't seen these people since high school. And all of a sudden, like, they're showing me love and support on Instagram, which is cool. Like I appreciate it. But at the end of the day, they're cheering for you and rooting for you after you already made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're there,
weren't helping you up
like,
the mountain.
I believed in you or whatever. But during the process, they were just quiet.
Yeah. And then you probably get a bunch of those people too. I know, like we hear it all the time, right? Like, oh, it must be nice. And I'm like, yeah, the last 6 years wondering about the cash flow, payroll, customer. Yeah, it was really nice. It was fun.
Yeah. I think I hear that stuff all the time too. The outside looking in, it looks easy. And I was one of them. Honestly, I looked at when my boss would show up in that new truck. I'm like, man, I can't wait to do that. It's going to be easy. I got it all planned out in my head. And little did I know, I mean, it's a dang roller coaster ride. Like people wouldn't even believe staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m, hoping this person pays their invoice so I can meet payroll in 12 hours when I hand these guys their checks, like trying to selling stocks to give guys Christmas bonuses. Like no one sees that on the outside. You see the fancy truck and the cool jobs, but there were some struggles and there will be struggles. This is part of being an entrepreneur, but no one understands that. And unless you're a business owner and you've been doing it a little bit, at least 5-6 years, no one really knows the reality of it.
It took me a long time, but I've found that I had to teach myself to fall in love with the problem solving because it's what you do every day. There's a problem every day. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Yeah. And it's always something new. Just when you think you've seen it all, then there's something new that comes on your plate and you just got to handle it. It makes you better,
Yep. Yeah.
I think it's like having a mentor kind of prepares you a little bit for that. I personally didn't really have a mentor at all. It was just all kind of self-taught. My dad's, he's a mentor, but he's not a contractor. So he deals with different stresses and problems. But at the end of the day, it's having a mentor could help you prepare for it. But until you're in it, you're never going to learn that lesson.
No. And the only way to learn it is to do it. You got to walk, forge through fire.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
man, so we're looking at 6 years of being in business, and you've already grown. And I think there was two things that I was like, wow, about. One, you've already grown to 14 full-time employees, not counting all the subs you work with. And
Right.
two, you're managing 14 employees, multiple projects with a part-time office manager.
Yeah. Believe it or not, part-time office
I
manager.
think
Yeah.
that's
She
the
could
one
be
that shocked me
full-time
the
if she
most.
wanted. She could be full-time if she wanted, but she's a mother of two, and her husband's actually one of my best friends, and he works full-time too. So she's got to be a mom and all that. But I used to do it all myself. I used to have 15 guys and I had no office admin at all. And so I'm running around doing estimates. I'm doing project management. I'm doing client relationship management, which is a full-time job in itself. Doing the invoices and paper, trying to organize my office and do paperwork. I was doing it all at one point. I was losing my mind. I was
Yeah,
losing my mind, but
you don't
yeah,
realize how
it's
many
been
hours
long.
a week you spend doing admin work until you get it off your plate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was just talking about it with my dad too a couple days ago. I'm like, she at first when I hired her, it was just like a little like bit. I felt like I could just do what she did, but now she's been really good. She's learned really quickly. If she left, like she just found out she's pregnant, I'm just like, what am I going to do when she takes her maternity leave? What am I
So
going to do?
I'll
I
give
couldn't
you
even
one
imagine
small
it
piece
without
of
her.
advice on this, man. While you've got her and things are clicking, have her like use Loom or her phone and like record all the processes and structures. So if you do have to train somebody down the road, you got the library of the processes.
Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, but it's hectic. It's got its moments. I'm still learning. I have a lot to learn. I've only been doing it 6 years. So in the first year I started, I was just a one-man show. I had my old blue flatbed truck and one of those orange job box you get at Home Depot, those like rigid boxes. Just had one of those stuffed full of tools, my whole cab of my truck stuffed full of all my tools and just myself. And I remember going and like introducing myself to real estate agents and introducing myself to mortgage brokers and termite companies that did like termite inspections, saying, "Hey, you guys have Section 1 work. You need repairs. I'm ready to go." And just kind of kept it going. Like, that's how I kind of got my boots on the ground. I was working as a framer for some other contractors too, on and off. When they needed a hand, I'd just go bag up for them. But then those little Section 1 repair work, like the termite damage and stuff, turned into, oh, I got a front door that needs to get replaced. Oh, my cousin needs a deck built. And then it just kind of kept going and going. And then 6 months in, I had 5 employees working for me after about 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
So then it just, yeah. And so within the first year, I went from being by myself for like 3 to 4 or 5, maybe 6 months. And then it was like I had a crew and I kind of started, getting a little bit bigger.
How was that
bigger.
transition for you as a business owner?
Um,
Were you prepared for it? Were you ready for it? Or you just kind of fly by night and figure it out?
No, looking back, I had no idea what I was doing. I was so not prepared. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I didn't have the capital. I didn't know my numbers. I didn't know my profit margins. I had no idea how much money I was making or how much I was losing. I didn't know how to hire the right people. So I hired some friends. Big mistake. I'll never do that again. I lost a lot of friendships by doing that. Friends, family members of friends and stuff like that. It just didn't really work. So I learned a lot of lessons in the beginning there, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was fun. It was exciting at the time, but looking back, I definitely was not mentally or financially prepared for it. I still made it work. Never missed a payday in my entire career, but we made it work.
That's awesome. So if you're talking to some business owners that were on that brink of hiring some employees, like what advice would you give them so that they could minimize the learning curve a little bit?
Right. I think the first thing is when someone comes to ask you for a job, ask them who they've worked for before and call the references. If they send you a resume or whatever, call the numbers on there and ask, there's only so much you can legally be told by these previous employers, at least in California. But check in on the references, do your research on them, and give them a trial run. I mean, if they pass all the referrals, talk highly of them. I give my guys a 90-day probationary period and kind of throw them in the mix and see if it works. And I think there's going to be a lot that you hire, but to be good at hiring, you have to be really good at firing. As soon as you notice it doesn't work, get rid of them. come up, you can have the same excuse you always use. You can have multiple excuses, whatever. But as soon as you notice a pattern and it's not going to work, the sooner you get rid of them, the better. That some of them will have family. They'll come back to you saying, I got kids and this and that. I got kids. I got those same problems. I got to feed my family before I feed yours. And this just isn't working. And at the end of the day, it's not meant to be. So hire, use the LinkedIn, or not the link. LinkedIn's a good one, but using like Indeed and all these other ones, put it out there. But when you try these guys, make sure when they send the resume, call the referrals, give them a 90-day probationary period, talk to your crew that's there already, see how they're feeling, see how the chemistry is working. If it's not working, get rid of them ASAP and move on to the next one. And you'll go through 10 or 15 or 20 of them just to get one. So that's just the way I do it.
Entrepreneurship is so much fun.
It can be heartbreaking. I've had employees crying. Like I've had literally employees cry. Had guys try to fight me. Like one of my best friends that I fired, he literally tried to fight me in the parking lot that I fired him at. It was unbelievable. You go through them all too, being in the trades. You go through the alcoholics, the drug addicts, the court dates, the baby mama drama, but if you go through those 10, you get the 11th guy that's all right. Even if he doesn't know a lot, you can teach him, but he's got the fundamentals down. He's got a driver's license. He's got morals. He's got the work ethic. I can work with that.
Yeah. I always say to look for that at the beginning and change your whole interview process to figure out the character and the desire, because all the skills are teachable.
Right. True. Yeah. You want to make sure that the fundamentals are there.
And then talking about employees, one of your TikTok videos that I saw, you were talking about giving a new guy like easy action item tasks that are, with a process, but something that you can kind of test to see how well he can manage a few different tasks within a project, but they're all very simple tasks. Like you didn't set them up for failure. And Correct. Then you can build on that if it continues to grow. Like, how did you come across that process?
I guess just trial and error, really. It's just kind of a little system that I've kind of developed out over the last 6 years. I don't really think there was a pivot point where I'm like, okay, this is my strategy. But I think there were guys that would come to me and say, oh, I can frame a house. And I say, okay, here's a deck. Start with a deck job. Let's see if you can build the deck. I'd say probably 6 out of 10 couldn't even build the deck when they said they could build a house. A deck, if you can't build a deck, you definitely can't build a house. Right. So once they pass that, then I say, okay, well, if you can handle that, then here's a bathroom remodel. Right. There's going to just kind of working your way up slow and steady with different, increasingly more challenging tasks. But, even now, if a guy says he's a carpenter, he comes to me, oh, yeah, I can frame per plan. All right. Well, here's a fence job. Here's a deck job. I don't know you. I'm not going to trust you with a big scope of work like that yet. If it's someone that's high up that says he's a foreman or whatever, I still start them out small and make sure they can handle the fundamentals and the basics, and then kind of give more responsibility as they grow.
When I heard that in that video, there was 2 things that I took away from that. One, I just love that, like, you're not setting him up for failure and you're going to be able to see what he's capable of doing. And it gives you some time to build that relationship and trust with him. Correct. And then like, what was the other thought I had? The other one was like, you're not going to ruin any good client relationships on the large projects by entrusting somebody you don't know well enough. And it limits your frustration because you don't have ridiculous expectations of that guy.
Right. I think, I don't like setting anyone up to fail. That's a good point that you brought that up. And it's happened to me before where I was working for a big company, and the foreman that I was working with, I was a carpenter, and there was a foreman there, and I knew he had it out for me. Just the vibe wasn't there. It was a mutual thing. We really didn't like each other. And he gave me a set of plans and said, okay, lay out the foundation for these. There was this front addition, and there were like 2 or 3 columns that he wanted me to set the footings for. And, so I'm setting my form boards and I'm setting my stakes and everything. And this guy comes out and he measures it and he's like, oh, you're 3 inches off. And I'm saying, no, I'm not. And I showed him the plan. He's like, oh, no, you're building off the wrong plan set. And I'm like, huh? And on the top right, you can see where it's dated. He knew dang well. And then he called like the supervisor, like, hey, this guy just spent 2 days like forming up this stuff on it's not right. Like, I can't use them here. Now we have to redo it. Like, totally set me up to make me look like a fool. Right. And so I just know how it feels to just be set up for failure. And I just don't believe that that's the way to teach anybody any good lessons. It's not going to do any good. And I just I don't want to do that to anybody. It doesn't feel good. I've been through it. So I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always say like you can be right, which usually means you're alone.
Yeah.
Or you can be a team member and like lift, coach up and make people better around you.
Right. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
So again, like you talk a lot about like your morals and values and the importance of relationships with your employees. I love that you talk about you look out there and you say, man, I get to feed all these families.
Yeah.
But like with that whole culture that you're building, do you still have to put like job postings out there, or are you finding the good guys from other crews are like, hey, David, I want to work with your crew. I like what you got going on.
Yeah, no, I used to have to put the ads out. I mean, full transparency, I have not put a job listing out in probably 2 years. I got my core guys, my really good guys. They're loyal, they're hardworking. They talk to their friends about how I treat them. They talk to their family about how I treat them, and they naturally just kind of come. If there's been a couple times where I said I knew that I needed a couple more guys, so I went to my core guys and said, "Hey, I got a couple of openings. You got anyone?" And within a week or two, they had their friend's nephew or whatever, someone that they knew brought in, and they're good people. The chemistry's already good. I didn't even have to put an ad out, and I was just talking to my dad about this because he has a labor force problem. He can't get anyone to come work. Architect's a whole nother ballgame. But for me, they're just coming to me on Instagram in my DMs. I'm getting emails of resumes. I think once as a business owner, you portray good values and you make it seem like it's a home and it's an attractive place to work. You got good jobs. You take care of your guys. I mean, people are going to see that and they're going to want to be a part of it. And I unpurposefully did that. It's just a side effect of me just being authentic and being real about how I run my business. And now I just don't have the problem of having to put job listings out. At least not yet, thankfully.
And I preach because we do consulting and coaching through our Groundbreaking Growth program. And I preach, like, we don't do anything at the beginning until we go over personal and business values, because I think that's the cornerstone for everything. But then when we start talking about team development, I'm like, it begins and ends with the culture you build, because people want to be in a community that they can feel they can buy into. And if you can't 100%. Set the tone for that culture, then you're going to have this workforce problem that just cycle and churn through and not get employees. And and if you can verbalize that mission and vision, like you have with your crew, like you're seeing the fruits of that labor.
Right. Absolutely. And I think I'm so open with my guys about, hey, if there's an issue or you got something going on or you got family stuff going on, just tell me about it. Give me a heads up and I'll help you out. Like, I got a guy right now, his son is getting brain surgery from Stanford. Okay. And his wife doesn't work. He's supporting them both. And he's one of my top guys. He's been with me a lot. Like, I've been in business 6 years. He's been with me 4. And he needed to take 2 weeks off. I paid him in full for the 2 weeks to go to Stanford, take care of your family. Don't even worry about the money. I got you. I gave him a company truck, said, you use my truck, my gas, go up there, take care of your boy. I have a son. I couldn't imagine it's his son that's going through it. And that was huge to him. Like, it's just little things like that where I just didn't even really expect anything in return. I just said, this is what I would want if I was you. Just little things like that go a long, long way. Giving them donuts in the mornings once a month, pizza lunches every now and then, taking their families out to dinner every now and then, little things like treating them like human beings instead of just like your labor force it makes all the difference.
The moment you get your crew to be like, he really cares, you got something.
Yeah. And like, there'll be guys that see they work for me. Like, they'll go to the lumberyard with my logo on their back, on their shirts. They know that they're good when they work for me. They'll try to steal them. They'll say, I had a guy, I was paying him, for example, $40 an hour. This dude got a job offer from a big time contractor doing a huge custom home. He offered him $55 an hour and 1% of the profit sharing when it was done. And he told him no. He said, no, I'm good. I'm comfortable with Dave. You know what I did? As soon as he came back, I gave him like an $8 raise. And I gave him a company gas card and said, here you go. Like, I just was so appreciative and happy that he was transparent about it. But they know that I got good guys and that they're not going anywhere and they're getting job offers for way more money and they're still saying no. And I pay my guys a lot of money. So it speaks a lot when they're getting more than they're getting right now. Cause I pay my guys a lot of money. I take really good care of them. But anyway, it's just when you treat them really well, like humans are loyal, they'll take care of you.
Yeah. 100%. And they buy into your vision. They want to be a part of this vision. Like you probably do a really good job, I'm going to assume, talking about where this company is going to be in 5 years or 10 years.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
The opportunities. So like you're showing them the path to the future, and they're like, yeah, I want to ride this train with him.
Right. Yeah. You have to keep them motivated with you. You have to make them just as excited as you are when you do this. Like I remember when I first started, I had my crew and we're just building decks and fences and doing window swaps. I said, guys, I promise you, eventually we're going to be doing badass custom homes. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know for who, but I know it's going to happen. And as time went on, I developed this strategy where, I have a strategy now to where I got a $1.5 to $2 million. We just started this job in Pacific Grove. Huge job, year and a half worth of work. And I looked at them all, I'm like, see, I told you this was going to happen. I promise you. And this is just the beginning. Now I'm getting opportunities where the plans look like this. I mean, this is just a small little set. It's a little 18 by 12, but that's thick. And that's not that doesn't even have structural in it, right? As opposed to a little dinky little, like, here's a little kitchen remodel one. It's like thin as paper. This is what I used to do. It's just kitchens and bathrooms. Now this is a full brand new house. And I get the opportunities to bid this because of the strategies that I implemented and that I learned over the last 5 to 6 years to get me to those bigger jobs where I want to be and where they, quite frankly, they want to be there too.
And I'm going to probably keep referencing your TikTok videos, but I think this is what I really wanted to make sure we talked about, and you kind of transitioned to it perfectly right there. But you talked about stepping back away from chasing the $1 million homes and building the systems and framework and processes, and slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And you flip a finger, you've got $1 million jobs that you wouldn't have been able to do properly without the work you did on your systems. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I think that, I think the more important thing before systems is mindset and being grateful and thankful for the little jobs that you have in the moment right now. Even if it's one job, if you have something to do today where you're going to go and bag up and make some money today on your way to work, just be like, thank you, God, so much for this opportunity to provide a service for a good client and make some money, provide for my family. I'm so grateful and thankful for this blessing. And like that makes you happier. It changes your mindset, but it also changes like the way that the law of attraction works. And God's going to flood your life with more things to be grateful for when you switch your mindset like that. I remember one time I was dang near bankrupt. I was staring bankruptcy in the face. I had 15 guys working for me. Christmas was coming up. I owed the lumberyard $300,000. I owed the credit card company $75,000. I was going invoice check to invoice check just to meet payroll. What was left couldn't cover any of that. And so I'm like, I remember I parked my truck in the back of this country. I live out in the country out here, and I had no cell phone service. And I was screaming to God, like, show me a sign that this is what I'm supposed to do. Is this as good as it gets? Like, I'm just trying to help people. I'm trying to provide livings for my guys and build awesome, provide services and build awesome homes for people. Is this as good as it gets? Like, what do I need to do? I'm grateful for what I got, and I'm grateful to get me here, but show me a sign. I pulled up back into self-service, and I got an automatic, I saw my email, I had a bank payment for $65,000 that someone owed me for like 100 days. And boom, it was like, whoa. That was crazy. That happened really quickly. So I was like, I just need to be grateful. Like, I'm grateful for this lesson that I'm learning. This is not the way to do it. Thank you for showing me that this is not the way to do it. And let's re-strategize and come up with a new system and figure out something that works. And so then switching my mindset led me to new systems and new strategies on how to use software, how to run my financials, to hire an office admin, fire the wrong people to make room for the right people. And it just kind of, the systems that I have when I hire new people, it just kind of led me to all these other new systems. And every company has the different systems that work, right? What works for me might not work for you. What works for me might not work for a plumber. But a lot of it is just kind of developing the systems on your own and figuring out what works through trial and error. But it's all in your mind. It's all, and from that moment, that was Christmas of 2022. Christmas of 2023, there was like 6 figures in the bank, no debt. Didn't have to sell stock and sell cryptocurrency just to give my guys Christmas bonuses. I wasn't broke. It was a completely different, within a year, it was polar opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's so funny because like thinking about a year feels like forever. Looking back at the year feels like a moment.
Yeah, it literally went by so quick. And I'm a big journal guy. I write in my journals. I've been slacking on them a little bit. I need to get back on it, but I used to do it every single day. And I remember looking at the journal entry from January of 2023 compared to 2024. And 2023, it was like I was struggling. I was like, man, I'm barely hanging on. I'm thankful for what I got. I trust your process. I trust your plan. I'm here for it. I'm not giving up and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the year, I went back and read that compared to the journal entry, the last journal entry of the year, completely opposite life. Totally different.
Yeah.
So and systems and attitude changes were huge for me.
Yeah. And I think the biggest attitude change that I've learned, and it was just reiterated in so many books that I've read over the years, was like, life happens for you, not to you.
Yeah.
So like 100%. Even when something bad happens, you have to say, okay, what's the lesson I need to learn from this? And not be the victim, right. Not the victim of the moment. Yeah.
And it's so hard to like acknowledge that in the moment when you're just so mad and you're so upset and you're just like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. It's hard. I'm really expressive when I'm going through tough times, and that's part of growing up. It's part of maturing. You got to learn to control it. But in the moment when it's happening, to be able to control your mindset and control your attitude and say, this is happening for me, not to me, is huge. It's huge. And you go through it. You'll go through those moments easier. It makes it easier to go through those tough times when you have that mindset, for sure. It's all temporary. If it's not good, it's not the end.
There's that poem. I can't remember who wrote it, but like he ends it with, "You're the master of your fate, the captain of your ship." And like, I remember I would try to say that out loud. And I was like, this sounds so ridiculous. And like, after doing it for like a month, you're just like, yeah, fuck that. I am the master of my fate. Like,
absolutely.
I will make whatever I want happen.
Right. I heard that saying in the movie The Secret. That's where I heard that first a few years back. I heard it in there. I can't remember who says it, but I remember hearing that. It's true.
It's a pretty old, famous master of your fate, captain. It'll find it. Yeah, it's just a great saying. It's just a good reminder that it's the Invictus poem by William Henley.
Yeah, there it is.
But just a good reminder that, like, if you don't like where you're at or the way life's happening, change it.
Yeah.
Make a change.
And it all starts with your mind.
It starts with your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. The Secret is a good movie. I would recommend entrepreneurs watch that at least some point in their life, at least the part about the money, but it goes into like relationships and love and all this other stuff. But talking about like your bad moods getting into good moods and changing your mindset and your brain, the way your brain functions, it's good stuff. It changed my life for sure.
Well, it's funny because like when you talked about in that TikTok video about building the systems so that you would be ready to do the $1 million houses.
Yeah.
The first thought I had about was like, I was like, God, that sounds like that guy online that talks about dating. Like if this is the girl you want to be with, then start becoming the man that you think she wants to be with today.
100%.
Right. And to me, I'm like, it's the same thing, right? Like, where do you want to be and what do you need to have in place to get there, and start building it now, whether it's for your personal life or your business.
Right. 100%. 100%. And I remember there was multiple times where I had the opportunity, thank God it didn't work. And I bid these big multi-million-dollar brand new houses. And I was serious. I was thinking I was ready to do it. And I didn't get the job. Thank God I didn't get it because I would have gone bankrupt. But man, looking back, I would have had no idea what I was doing. I would have had nowhere near the right team to do it. It would have probably been the end of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, just now I have the right crew. I have the right experience. I have the right systems and software and the capital and, I have the right tools to actually take on these bigger jobs now.
Yeah. How much was becoming a father 2 or 3 years ago? How big of a role did that play in you saying, all right, it's time to get this dialed in so it can run full time and I don't have to worry about what's going to happen next year?
Yeah, that I would say it didn't really hit me. He was born on October 3rd. January 1st, it smacked me in the face. This was of 2020. So October 3rd, 2021. So January 1st of 2022, it really hit me in the face where I'm like, I need to step this up. And I mean, I did 75 hard. I don't know if you've heard of that from
Andy
Andy Frisella's
Frisella.
75 hard. So I did that. I went 130 some days and just really kind of changed it up a lot. And I, quite frankly, I grew too much. I took on way too much. Because by the end of that year, I was dang near bankrupt. But I just thought I needed to take every single job, hire a bunch of guys, just totally spread. There was not enough butter to spread across the bread. You know what I mean? I just spread myself way too thin. I was way too stressed out. But I think it took probably 2 months for it to really hit me in the head that it was like, I'm providing for this dude. Like me and his mother aren't together, but when I'm holding him and he's with me, I have him half the time with 50-50 custody or whatever. So I'm holding him. And it's just this little 2-month-old or 3-month-old baby. And like, this kid relies on me to provide for him and give him a lifestyle that he deserves. And it just kind of like a switch went off where I was super hungry, super ambitious all over again. But I had more lessons to learn. God had more lessons for me to learn quickly. And, I just got too big too fast, but luckily it all worked out.
And now you take him to job sites with you, right? And he kind of runs around and probably runs the whole crew, right?
Yeah, no, they call him the jefecito. It means little boss in Spanish. But no, I used to take him with me to meetings. I had him in his little like car seat carry-on thing. Like I would just take him out of the back seat in his little carry-on. He's 2 months old. I'd go in and meet new clients with and say, hope you don't mind. I'm on dad duty today. I got my little 2-month-old to be like, it's cute or whatever. If they didn't like babies, I didn't want to work for them anyway. You're weird if you think babies are like, you don't want to see a baby.
An inconvenience.
Yeah. No, I don't even want to work for you if you're like that. But anyway, so he was like the Kasavan closer is what I'd call him. But I'd bring him in and he's in this, like, I got pictures just holding him and like doing inspections with building inspectors. And I just got him, I'm holding on to him. And then he got bigger and I was holding him, like just actually holding him, not just the little car seat. And then now he's just, as soon as he gets out of the truck, he's just running all around. I got to make sure he doesn't run off the dang foundation or the subfloor or anything. But he's very familiar with the job sites now. And he recognizes the guys. It's fun, man. He's 2.5 basically. And it's fun. He's starting to talk and he's like understanding what power tools do. I had my screw gun. He was like screwing in some screws with me the other day. So it's fun. It's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. I don't know. We never had kids. We weren't able to, or just didn't or whatever. So I always feel like that's something I miss out on. Like I have a lot of drive for my business. So I'm like, I wonder what my drive would be if I looked over at a kid every day.
Yeah.
And thought of,
sometimes it's either a kid or it's like your own personal goals, or it could be, whatever. It could be your nephew or your nieces and stuff. But it was definitely a huge, huge motivator for me. It totally topped off my motivational fuel tank. And I was in a rough patch there anyway. I was drinking too much and dealing with stress in all the wrong ways. So for me personally, it was a little blessing.
Yeah. So you talked about doing that 75 hard during this process. One of the questions I have for you, I know like a lot of people look at it as a workout and it's not at all. It's meant to reprogram your brain to do things you don't want to do. Like exactly. How much more committed to your visions are you from before 75 hard to after?
I think I'm just as motivated and ambitious now as I was when I first started. The ambition and the motivation kind of started to fade away dealing with the normal drama of being a contractor. And I've always been a pretty relaxed, chill, easygoing kind of guy. I didn't like confrontation, but there's a lot of confrontation and a lot of conflict when you're an entrepreneur. And I just had a hard time dealing with that. And I'm like, dealing with bad clients that won't pay, just all this stress and people threatening to sue and all this crap. So I'm going through this and I was just like, man, this isn't fun. Do I really want to do this? Is this what I signed up for? Like, this is not fun. And my ambition kind of tanked down. And then my son was born. And I was, like I said, before he was born, I was drinking and partying too much and kind of losing the motivation. But then when he was born, it reset it back, going through the 75 hard, basically sobering up, cleaning up and whatever, and getting my workout in and being disciplined, believing in myself, having confidence in myself, looking in the mirror and being proud of what I see changes everything else in your life. It made the workflow was better. The type of clients I was getting was better. The type of employees I was getting was better. Everything else just got better and better and better. And it's like, this is what it's really about. Yeah. I'm back. Dave's back. Essentially.
I love that. Yeah. I remember not too long ago, I just read in a book that they were talking about, there's 4 C's. I can only think of the 3 of them though, but like competency, like learning something, builds confidence.
Yeah.
When you have confidence, it builds credibility.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And I think there's another one I saw. This guy was talking on Instagram. He talks about there's physical health, mental health, and business health, and it's in that order, right? Your physical health, you need to be at your best physical performance you can be, to have your mental health be the best that it can be, to have the business health be the best that it can be. It all starts with, even if you're just physical health doesn't mean you have to pump iron and necessarily, but going on a couple walks, prioritizing eating a little bit better, maybe not drinking as much beer or whatever, doing something. I mean, every now and then it's okay to let loose. I'm going to Vegas next week to the International Builder Show. I'm probably going to toss back a few beers, but come back home and just, be dialed in, and having that balance is really important for your physical health.
They talk about that, like, hey, when you don't have all the wealth and the freedom and all that, like, that's what you want. Like, you yearn for that new car, that house, the $1 million. But they talk about, like, the world's wealthiest man, when he gets sick, he'd give all of his riches away to have our health.
Exactly. It's so important. So important. So yeah, it was basically just reamped my my motivation and everything, and now, even to this day, I need to get back in the gym a little bit. I've been slacking. I've been so busy. I got a newborn now. I actually have an 8-week-old daughter.
Oh, congratulations.
Trying to balance that out with her mom and my girlfriend, and keeping that dad life, 2 kids, a little bit more hectic. I'm a little more tired, but Andy Frisella would say there's no excuse, dude. Get in the gym. Yeah.
I had to, so starting this year, I've missed 3 days since the first of the year, but so I now get up in the morning and I follow that 30-30-30, where you have 30 grams of protein for breakfast within 30 minutes of waking up, followed by 30 minutes of steady state cardio. So I get up, I have a protein shake, and then I jump on the exercise bike and I ride it for 30 minutes. And then I read either a personal or business development book so I've read 6 books this year already. And we're February 16th, 30 minutes a day. You wouldn't believe how fast you go through a book.
No kidding. Good for you, man.
I'm doing it while I ride, because I would not carve time out to just sit down and read.
Right. No, that's huge. That's a solid morning routine. Everyone should have one like that. It's the you time, right? Before you're on the phone and handling business, you have your own time to get dialed in and get your routine done, so you're ready to brace yourself for the day. Is very important.
I tell everybody, I'm like, push your morning back as far as you can for the industry you're in.
Yeah.
And then if you need to, after that, if you still need to, then wake up 20, 30, 40 minutes earlier than you used to, so you can get that time in the morning for you, and just to set your whole day. Like, if I ride that bike in the morning, I'm very cognitive of what I eat the rest of the day.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, it's a good way to start it for sure. I'm less so lately. I've been slacking a little bit, but my morning routine, like, it used to be, I'd wake up and do the Wim Hof breathing.
I love that.
Right? I've been doing it on and off. I need to get back in it. I need to be disciplined to get back in it. I'd been slacking a little bit, but it was the Wim Hof breathing. I do 3 rounds of that. I do a minute and a half to 2 minutes cold shower every single morning. And then it would be not necessarily a protein shake, but just eating something sort of healthy in the morning before I start my day. And I would do my reading, and I'd sit. I have a vision board. I still have a vision wall in my room right now. And I would sit with some headphones in, and I would just stare at this wall and just try to, like, say, okay, I'm manifesting all this stuff. This is my life. I'm thankful for what I got right now. This is all coming. I used to be very, very adamant about doing all that. I just been slacking a little bit, busy with the kids and the business. And it's hard to stay disciplined. I get it, people. It's hard. Everyone has their.
Yeah. I always laugh, because I'm like, we will not slack for other people, but we will quickly slack on ourselves.
Yeah,
we're wired so weird. Humans are wired so weird when it comes to that.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I need to get back on it for sure. And those mornings, man, I just remember feeling like a superhero with a cape on when I left my house, just like Superman. Just cold showered, Wim Hof, some solid, like, breakfast, and, like, reading the 10 pages of that book. And during the 75 hard in those mornings when I had those routines down, man, I felt like a superhero.
Yeah,
and I was ready to take on the day's challenges.
And that, like, when you get into, like, that deep breathing, like that Wim Hof style breathing, like, there's a lot of research that shows, like, diseases are created in hypoxic environments where there's no oxygen or a lack of oxygen.
Right.
So it's like, I'm curious to see if they'll ever do studies to be like, hey, the people that do that 30 rounds of 30 breaths in and out real fast and heavy every day consistently, like, what's their rate of getting cancer or some other debilitating disease versus the average American public?
Right.
Because you're just oxygenating yourself so full in the morning.
Yeah, Gary Brecka. Are you familiar with Gary Brecka?
Yeah.
So I've actually met him and I saw him speak in face to face in Miami, and I've actually shook his hand. It was me. I was in a small group of probably, I don't know, 15 people, and he was one of the speakers in this growth course that I paid for or whatever. And he says the abundance of oxygen is an absence of disease. And he explains and goes in depth about how cancer cells literally can't thrive in a body that has an abundance of oxygen. They don't live off oxygen, and there's some other stuff. But I think he was the one that opened my eyes to that. And that was why I do it. I got my dad doing it. My dad does it every morning.
I love
He's 73 years old.
I love it.
73 years old. And he's telling me, he's like, get on it, kid. Why are you slacking? What would your 90-year-old self tell you? Get your ass up, do your Wim Hof breathing, get in the cold shower. Like, he's adamant about it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
I have seen Gary Brecka talk about that whole thing with the oxygen, but the first person to ever mention about like the cancer was Tony Robbins. Talked about how you've never seen anyone have heart cancer. Like, why aren't we studying the heart? And if you think about it, where's all the blood flow through? The oxygen come? I mean, it makes total sense. There's so much oxygen that cancer probably can't survive in the heart.
That's very interesting. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So my dog is barking a little bit. I don't know if we have a delivery here at the front door, or my mother-in-law might come over.
No worries.
She washes her.
I got 3 of them in the backyard right now.
Yeah, we got a little mini Bernedoodle. She turned 3, and I tell you what, she's as sassy as they come, and she runs the entire house. And not having kids, like, she gets called the daughter by.
Yeah, no, see, that's good.
So
the fur baby.
Yeah, like, we take her everywhere we can, man. Like, I didn't get her to leave her at home when I run errands or stuff like that, so I just throw her in the car with me and take her with. So it's fun.
Good.
Yeah, man, that was a nice little tangent on morning routines and oxygen, and I love that stuff. I can geek out over that stuff. I don't know, like, I do so much reading and learning and discovering and testing that stuff. I kind of find myself like nerdy about it, but
yeah, no, I am very adamant about it too. Like I said, I've been slacking on it lately, but it's that's a whole nother conversation that we can have, where it's just all about structuring your morning routine, the importance of it, the importance of visualizing and manifesting, and the law of attraction. And I mean, I was more into that than I was into construction for a few years there. And that's why I think I manifested this life so quickly. I remember I first learned about it. I was like 18 years old. My mother showed me The Secret, and I just was like, I don't believe in this stuff. Like, but I just said, screw it, I'll try it out. And so I put it to the test. I said, all right, I want a dog named Riley. I want a truck. I didn't have a driver's license or a diploma or anything. I want a truck. I want a diploma. I want a job. I still have my dog named Riley. Within eight months of actually trying it, I had a driver's license, my first truck that my grandma bought me. I had my diploma, miraculously got my diploma. Another one was that I wanted to win the lottery. And within a year, I won like $2,500 in the lottery. So I guess I should have been more specific and said I want to win the jackpot.
The big one.
Yeah, I should have said that, funny. I guess. But it was just like, whoa, this is wild. And so then I just, like, when my boss showed up, when I first got into construction, I said, I'm going to have that. I'm going to own my own business. I remember driving through Pebble Beach, California, right here, where we do a lot of our bigger custom homes. And I was in my old piece of crap blue truck that I started my company with. And I'm just driving it. I'm envisioning myself in my brand new truck, going to my project with my logo on the side of my truck and my company sign. And it's my project. Within the first year, I had a little deck job in Pebble Beach with my brand new truck. Well, it's not brand new now, but my 2018 truck I got in the driveway with my logos on the side. And I had this come to moment. I'm like, wow, like less than 2 years after I was envisioning this and like feeling in the moment like I was driving it, I'm literally driving in the brand new truck to my job where my employees are at.
And I don't think it's all hocus pocus. Like, I think what it does is it just aligns your subconscious to keep you on track with where you want to get to. Correct.
Yeah. And you got to like actively do stuff, right? Like I pounded pavement, man. I mean, that's what these guys tell me. Oh, should I pay for, Home Advisor or all that? I'm like, I never paid for any of that stuff. You can if you want, that's fine. But I think the good old fashioned shaking someone's hand. You're a realtor. I'm a contractor. You're an architect. I'm a contractor. We should all know each other. Right.
Yeah.
We should all have connections, like you need me, I need you type of thing. So I take these things. I mean, I got an example right here, this little folder right here, right? This is an empty one, but I have I have documents and paperwork that I go knock on doors of structural engineers and architects and realtors and property managers. I'm like, I need you, you need me. I would love an opportunity to show you what my team can do. Start me out with something small. I'll show you how we do it. We'll knock it out of the park and whatever. And that's been one of the best strategies I've had. Well, I think be connected to the people that are going to give me these.
Yeah. But what I love what you said there, though, is like you tell them up front, start me on something small. Let's build this relationship.
Yeah.
Like you don't walk in saying, give me the keys to the castle in the $1 million project. Like, give me something small.
And they won't even ever do that. Right. Automatically, they're not going to do that anyway. So you tell them that you expect small ones.
Yeah. But I think it's outlining that expectation up front is huge because people then hear it and say, oh, all right, well, he understands how this works. Maybe we'll give him a whirl.
Yeah. Yeah. So. And it's not 100%, there's guys I've had architects that literally like, oh yeah, like I'll just take it and I don't have time to meet with you right now. And I've had like realtors that did the same thing and they just took it and they just probably threw it away. But I'd say out of like the 25 that I've talked to, about 18 of them I'm in a dynamic with them and I communicate with them and I've gone out to coffee with them and they've given me referrals to other people, not necessarily one of their clients, but someone else. And, it's you just don't be afraid to get told no and don't be afraid to get denied. That's just every no is a step closer to a yes. Don't let your ego get in the way.
Yeah. We always do these exercises to like figure out how many calls or customer communications you have to have in a month or a quarter to hit your financial goals.
Yeah.
And then we break it down to like how many of those you need to do into a day. So that way you got a daily action item. But right. I just, these guys are like, oh, I heard no for 6 days in a row. I'm like, cool. That means you're going to start hearing yeses because the law of averages. Yeah. You can't hear 1,000 no's. Yes. You can't hear 1,000 no's.
Right. Exactly.
You just can't pick and choose when the yeses fall in line. Like they might stack up 3 in a row and then you don't hear anything for 200.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still out of the 200, you got the 3. Those, thank God for that.
Trust the law of averages. Yeah.
100%. And, I think it's a little bit different for me being a general, right? Because I need to go to certain people. But I mean, guys, I'm thinking this is Skid Steer Nation. These guys are dirt workers. What would dirt workers do? Well, if I was an excavation company, I would go to every single general contractor's office that had an actual office. I'd go in there with something, a thick document, nothing too thin and looks cheap. Spend some money on some good, like an actual like brochure or whatever.
Yeah, get on Upwork or Fiverr, pay a freelancer to design it for you.
Exactly. Do it on Vistaprint. That's why I got these.
Yeah.
And then go in there, shake their hand, say, I see your signs everywhere. I see your website. You do great work. I would love an opportunity to get in there. Go to the contractors. You can go to architects, but if these guys that are doing dirt work, most of their work is through GCs. I think, at least out here. Go to developers. Go meet with developers. Go meet with even other excavation companies. Hey, I see you're doing a lot of work. If you have something that comes up you don't have time for, I'd love an opportunity to make you look good. Send them my way and I'll take care of it or whatever. Get resourceful. But every trade kind of has a different strategy. Plumbers, go to hotels, go to motels, go to restaurants. You're a hotel. You have 100 toilets. You're going to need some maintenance. Here's my card. Do that 100 times. Someone's going to call you for a toilet that's clogged when one of the guests.
David, I heard a guy talk about he spends every day on lunch break eating his lunch in the Lowe's parking lot in his branded truck. And that's how he does his marketing. He's like, 'cause everybody's walking in and out and they just keep seeing my truck. And eventually they're going to be like, I'm just going to call him to do the work.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's another way too. You're essentially, it's a mobile billboard, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, doing that only will get you so much. I think if my dad said, if you have a fishing pole and a fishing line and enough places in the ocean, eventually one of them is going to catch a fish. So you do a little bit of parking in the Lowe's parking lot. You go to the hotels and you market your services. You go to the restaurants and you go to these contractors. You go to a bunch of different places with this thing, and you park your truck in certain spots enough times. Someone is going to recognize that brand. Someone's going to give you a shot. Someone's normal plumber, normal electrician, normal roofer is not going to be available, and they're going to give you a shot because they remember seeing you.
I tell these guys to like figure out some small niche people that work with your customer that aren't getting inundated by other contractors for networking opportunities. Like how many guys, how many contractors do you think actually build relationships with insurance brokers?
I've never heard of that one.
But you think about it, if you have damage to the house or the property, they got to call the insurance agent, but do you have anyone to do the work? We've got a guy that we've met. Like,
that's a great point. That's a great point.
Like getting outside the normal box of general contractors and realtors, like who else do those people work with and talk to?
Yeah. You got to think outside the box for sure. And the insurance brokers are a good one. I mean, we just had a huge storm here 2 weeks ago. I mean, it looked like a war zone in Pebble Beach and Carmel. These houses are getting trampled by these trees. And guys, I mean, I got a couple calls. I personally don't do insurance jobs, but I refer them to someone that does. But that's a great point. Insurance broker. I mean, you get the sky is really the limit. You get creative with it. And you got to really think outside the box, and you got to put in the work. You got to get outside your comfort zone, go meet these people, put boots on the ground, and make it happen for yourself. Because God will help you get to your end goals, but He's not going to just drop it into your lap. You got to go put in your part of the bargain too.
Yep, Cheetos and soda on the couch don't get you there. I don't care how much you vision board it.
And sitting on Instagram and dogging on people that are telling you how to do it and saying that doesn't work for me is not going to get you there any faster either. So,
no,
I got a lot of hate for those videos that I was posting about like strategies and stuff. And it's like, you guys are just creating your own life. Like you're creating it yourself. Go get out there and get comfortable. There's enough work out there for everyone. There's such a huge shortage in the blue collar industry all across the board. I don't care where you live. If you stand out and get creative and think outside the box, doesn't matter how many plumbers there are in your area, how many roofers or how many general contractors. If you do something different and you make yourself stand out, you'll get the work just like everybody else.
Yeah. And I think no matter how long you've been in business, maintaining those relationships is probably the most important thing you could ever do for your brand and your marketing.
Right. Yeah. You want to keep that relationship good. You don't want the reputation will be more powerful than trying to source new leads. Your referrals create like I went to the contractor fight convention last year, and they actually had the statistics shown. They did a test on it, like I think it was 1,000 or 100 different companies, but 80% of your work, your revenue can come from referrals when you're a general contractor. 20% comes from new leads. So if you just keep your relationships and you keep the old clients happy. I mean, I have the biggest job I got right now was a referral. It wasn't sourcing new leads. It was a referral that he checked my Instagram, checked my references that I had on my website, and he saw I was legit, and he didn't even play the game. I mean, he didn't even bid shop at all. He signed a contract within like a couple of days.
He's going to be the easiest client to work with too.
He's so chill. It's so crazy. He's just like, call him, I check in. He's like, all right, man, cool. Sounds good. Well, I'm going skiing. I'm like, all right, have fun.
Yeah. They talk about that. Like the $500 customer and the $50,000 customer, like $500 customer, like we're changing my whole life. I need to know a check-in on this. 50,000 guys, like money sent. Like,
yeah, literally I sent him a $59,000 invoice and he paid it in like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Online. It was unbelievable. So he is great. He's the man. So, but the referral, you want to keep your rep good, but you still look for new jobs, and you pound the pavement and get them. When you do get them, you take care of them, you prioritize them, answer the damn phone when they call, answer their emails, get back to them, tell them, hey, I can do it, or hey, I can't, but keep me in mind for the next one. It's, it's all part of it.
Yeah.
It's all part of it.
I can't believe how much you hear from people in the community when they say, yeah, I've been calling 7 people and nobody answers the phone.
Right.
It's baffling to me.
Yeah. I think if you just answer your phone and do what you say you're going to do, you're doing better than probably 80% of the workforce in your area.
100%. I would agree with that.
It's so, I don't want to say easy, but there's not a lot of competition, at least around here. There's really not a lot of good quality builders. There are some. And, it's when I'm bidding against them, at least I know I'm in the right pool of guys here. Yeah. But it's really like, this is probably the easiest time ever in history to be a contractor and start a building business or a plumbing business and take off. I mean, I took off in the first year. I did $375,000 in my first year in business. My second year, I did 1.4 or something ridiculous. Like, that's insane. In 2 years, I was $1 million company, and I was 27 years old. Yeah, I was not managing my money right, and I was growing way too fast and buying office equipment and tools I didn't need and shit. But at the end of the day, I didn't know anything about business, and I still went from 375 to the next year, quadrupled in size. I don't know. It's if you just do the work and put in the effort and go the extra mile, you can really be successful, and you just follow the same fundamentals.
Yeah, and
right now's the time.
It really is the time. But like Jeff Olson, the author of The Slight Edge, talks about the difference between great businesses and good businesses is the small action items you can do every day. He's like, they're so easy to do, but they're also so easy not to do.
Yeah, correct. I hear it.
And it's just making a commitment to do the discipline every day. Like it's easy to call two people when you're driving from job to job to try to prospect new leads, but it's just as easy not to call.
Right. 100%. Or just to get lazy with it. I'll do it later, or I'll do it Monday. Yeah. That was the big one for me for a while. Is I'll just deal with it Monday. It's the weekend. I don't want to deal with it now. Do it now. If you have time now to think about it, you just might as well just do it.
Yeah. And I personally have found I try to work anywhere from an hour to 3 hours every Saturday or Sunday because man, there's no distractions. And like, if you got something you really need to get done, like that's the time to do it.
Right. I think for me, that's when I have my son and my daughter. So I am like,
you're so
caught up in them. When they get a little older, like my dad works every Saturday. He's a 6-day-a-week guy, 73 years old. He goes in the office 6 days a week. You know, he says the same thing to you. I get the most done on Saturday. There's no one in the office. It's quiet. I crank up my blues music and I just get in the zone and get some stuff done. For me, I was 7 days a week before I had kids. I didn't care. I wasn't chasing girls. I wasn't doing any of that. I was so motivated. I was just trying to build my business. And the guys that are taking the days off on Saturdays and Sundays, those are 2 days that I can get ahead and catch up.
Yeah. Well, they talk about like interviewing all these massive CEOs from these huge companies. And like, there's an enormous amount of them that like go to work at 5 a.m. And it's because 5 to 8, 5 to 9, they're uninterrupted and they can actually get work done because then the meetings hit and the phone call and like, then you're a slave to the day instead of the day being working for you. So
100%.
So by carving out the time, whether it's morning, night, or finding a quiet place in the middle of the day, turn your phone off for an hour, which is counterintuitive if customers call, but
yeah, I'd say turn your phone off, making sure it's after 5, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
man, what a great conversation.
Yeah, no, this was fun, man. This
was a lot of fun.
Keep this thing going here.
Yeah, we did one with a guy named Austin Gray, and he's actually got a podcast. He's just started. He owns a dirt work company out in Colorado, but he's got a podcaster called the Owner Operator Podcast. He is under the firm belief, and I agree with 100%, but like you're going to see an enormous amount of service businesses close or get assumed in the next 5 to 20 years because of all the baby boomers that own these businesses. And they're showing stats that these baby boomers don't see a value in their plumbing business and their electrical, like they don't see it as a sellable asset. They're going to close it.
Right. That's true. That's very, very true. It's like my dad, man, he's 73, he's got no one to take over. I'm not an architect. I can't take over. I don't know how to do that, and what's he going to do? He's just going to end up selling it or, just closing up shop and one day retiring, and that's going to be it. It's just, there's no one to follow the footsteps, and architects aren't trying to buy up his business. They got their own problems. They got enough work as it is. So it's very interesting, and people it's not very attractive to come into the blue collar world still. It's up to us to make it attractive, to make it look like it's rewarding, and to make it look like there's nothing wrong with getting your hands dirty and showing up with dirty boots to the bar after the end of the day, covered in sawdust or pipe grease or whatever, and earning it the right way. It's just been frowned upon for so long. It's time to just change people's perspective on it, or it's just going to get worse over time. Someone's got to build these houses.
And I think the perspective is changing, and I think it starts with the cost of college.
Yeah.
When you start looking at the numbers of like, how much do you want me to spend on college for a job that makes how much money? And I can go make the same amount of money in the trades without college. Like it's a common sense move that 100%. I think you're seeing a migration into more of the trades. And let's be honest, with the trades you're seeing today and the technology that's being applied to it, it's not like the old grunt days. Like you've got GPS and computers and softwares and like it's a skilled trade.
Yeah, right. It is. And I think now, at least for my industry, for general contracting, I'm in a position where I can compete with, like I'm out here, these kids that don't go to college are either joining the ag industry, or they're joining, we got a lot of like the salad bowl. Salinas is a salad bowl of the world. And then there's like restaurant industry. And then there's obviously tech. But I'm finally able to pay, a guy brand new that doesn't really know anything, that just has work ethic, I'm paying him $25 an hour. It used to be 15. and I couldn't compete with those guys. Now, $25 an hour, like, that's what you're not going to get that in a restaurant. You know, you're not. I don't think you'll really get that. I don't know if you'll get that in the ag industry or not, but I'm able to like offer them more money for harder work. But a ladder to climb, you can go as high as you want. You can do as much or as little responsibility as you want. And so I'm able to actually compete with these guys, and it's nice. It didn't used to be like that. Probably 5 years ago, it didn't used to be like that.
Yeah, and with the trades, like you bring that guy in with no skills at $25 an hour, like he's going to learn an actual skill set.
Yeah, that he can take
anywhere, whether it's stay with your company and move up the ladder, or you can, I did rough framing for I think 6 months in between stints at college. I went to go be a carpenter, and I watched my boss, the owner of the company, trip on rebar twice on a basement foundation within 3 days and fall into the basement.
Oof.
Twice in a week. And I was just like, that's not going to be me when I'm 50.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So like I got out of it, but like the skill set of knowing all that, like we owning businesses, bars and restaurants and stuff, I've done an enormous amount of framing and contract, construction work for myself.
Right.
That I wouldn't have had the knowledge or know-how without that 6 months working in home construction.
Yeah, you can almost look at it like it wasn't even a waste of time. It was a good use of your time.
It was an amazing.
You learned a skill, and you learned that you didn't want to do that.
Right. I think it's more important to learn what you don't want to do than it is to figure out what you do want to do.
Oh, 100%. I'm a rough framer by trade. I mean, I loved framing. That was my favorite thing to do. And then when it came time to setting cabinets and hanging doors and do it. Oh God, I'm like, this is boring.
I like that 1/4 inch variance.
Yeah, 1/4 inch Kasavan framer is what I was. But it worked. We're doing huge houses. At the end of the day, it still worked out. You know what I mean? But it's just, man, I loved just being outside and the shirt off and the AC DC blasting and just like this huge scope of work that I got done instead of this. I did this little door and it took me 8 hours to do this. For me personally, it's not fun. Some guys like finish, some guys don't, but I just figured out I did not like the finish carpentry aspect of it.
No, you and I are wired the exact same way. Like there's parts of this house, there's parts of my house that still like, I need to put that trim up. And I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Oh, I hear you. I got a laundry list the size of the Bible, man. I got so much stuff here to do. All finished stuff too, of course.
Yeah.
Even grouting my floor in my kitchen. I still haven't grouted the tile on my floor in my kitchen, but I just was in a rush at the time. And it's that travertine, so it kind of looks okay without grout. But then I get like, some dusted stuff in there. It's like, oh my God, this just reminds me I need to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. You just haven't had enough pain. You haven't had enough pain created from it to make it a priority.
Yeah. And I don't even think my girlfriend notices that there's no grout there. So I'm going to let that slide. I'm not even going to
probably has no idea.
Yeah, exactly. So I got my gardener out front here just blowing off the leaves of the office here.
Well, we can't even hear it. So you're good, man.
Oh, okay, cool. Perfect.
Yeah. So following this dream, building this business, going through the lows, hitting the highs, and you're not even done with the journey. Like you're in phase 1 and you've got to get way up here later in life. Yeah. Like if somebody's out there on the fence thinking about closing their business or wanting to get into business or something, like what do you tell that person to be like, hey, this is the lifestyle that you can create for yourself. Like there's no one going to craft it for you. Like what do you tell that person?
I think if someone came to me and was like, hey, I think I want to start, like asking me if they want to start, what can they expect kind of a thing. I think it's lonely at first and there's ups and downs. There's times where you're not going to believe in yourself. There's times when you are, but at the end of the day, how in control of your life do you want to be? Do you want to be in complete control of your schedule? And I mean, to an extent, but do you want to be able to pack up and go to Europe with your family for a couple of weeks and have the income coming in from your business? Or do you just want your salary and you don't want responsibility? Like how much hecticness and stress can you handle? There's a lot of different things that I would ask this person. But someone that's ready for it and ambitious and they want it, I'm just going to say, brace yourself to look and sound crazy to your normal friend group. You're going to lose friends. You're not going to have time to go out and date. If it's easier if you don't have kids, but if you have kids, you're going to have to sacrifice some time with them. There's a lot of other sacrifices. You're going to be broke. You're going to have some money. Then you're going to be broke again. Just hang on tight and believe in yourself to the fullest extent and don't listen to anyone telling you that you can't do it. And just thank God for your mindset and for the jobs that you do have. And the chart will look like this. It'll be ups and downs, but overall, it'll look like that. You'll continue to grow. You'll continue to get better and just have unwavering faith in yourself and faith in yourself. Don't ever give up.
I think that's the best piece of advice you could give anybody, is just to, like, if you're going to make this journey, like, make sure you have faith in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't give up, man. Cause there's been times where I almost did. This guy offered me like 250 grand a year, just come manage his company, just to be a project manager, basically a field operations guy. And, all salary too, and a truck and the whole thing. And this is like when I was dang near bankrupt and questioning every decision I ever made in my life. And I'm so glad I didn't do it, because I had faith in myself, and I wanted my son and my family and everyone to have, so I want to leave a legacy for them to be proud of. And, they would have never even known that this was a thing if I would have given up. So it's just, everybody's got their own why. You got to figure out your why and just never give up on that reason.
Yeah. I mean, my brother and I've talked about this years ago, because we used to own the bars and restaurants together, but I'm a firm believer, like, when somebody in your industry offers you a position to come work for them, that just tells you that you're on the right track, because they've been watching you from a distance.
True. Very true.
Right. And they know, you hire talent. Yeah. So, like, they see the talent in you, and they're hoping to God you don't see it in yourself, so that they can use you to build their dream.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a great point. I didn't even think about it like that. I mean, I had a guy probably a month ago, this contractor, big time contractor. I went out to lunch with him, and he said, how about I pay you a salary and we bring you on, you wear my company logos, keep all your employees, we'll pay you on your license and on your company, but they wear all our uniforms, and we have you do all our work. We'll keep you busy every single day, 365 days a year. And they have a lot of work. And I was just like, no, like, no way. I can't do that. I mean, I appreciate the offer. He's a really nice dude. He's got a really good company, but I'm just like, I didn't work my ass off and go through all these ups and downs just to put someone else's name right here. Like, no, I can't do that. I can't live with myself like that. But it's because he knows I have a good team, and I've done subcontractor work with him before, and he knows that we do good work, and his team knows we do good work. So you're right. I mean, he sees the talent and try to capitalize on it, but I'm just too hungry, man. I'm an unstoppable force right now.
Yeah, well, it's like in his position, it's like, hey, let's assume the talent before they even realize that they're the competition, before they even realize that one day there will be competition.
Yeah, they already are. I've already bid against jobs. I've bid against them on jobs before.
Yeah.
Multiple. I think it's been like 2 or 3 times now where it's been me and them and 2 other people, and they're good. I mean, they do good work. They do really good work. So it's kind of an honor on my end. Like, they got little old Dave. This dude's been doing it 25 years. These other guys have been doing it 20 some years, and they got little Dave Kasavan in here who's been doing it 6 years, bidding against these big dogs. It's like, I'm just like, yes, I love this. I'm in the right pool. I'm in the right pool of guys here. I'm not just bidding against these hack jobs and these cheap dudes, and not just trying to get me to bid it to be the cheapest one anymore. It's not like that. They know I do good work. I'm in here like the other day, like this one right here. I'm going against 2 other contractors. One of them has been doing it 30 some years. And the other one has probably been doing it, I mean, over 20 for sure. And they do huge projects. I mean, bigger than anything I've ever done. And I'm still in there, and I'm like, just honored and thankful and grateful to be able to have the opportunity to bid. I have plenty of work right now. I'm thankful for what I got, but to have an opportunity to bid against some legendary contractors is pretty exciting. And I can't wait for that to be the new norm. It's just always being in that top quality level.
Yeah, that will be the new norm eventually.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
That's
then eventually they're not even playing the game at all. I mean, I went and took by far the most successful contractor in our area. He's actually my old boss. His name's Dave Stoker. I took him out to coffee, and this dude is a legend. I mean, this guy by far he's the best contractor out here. I think they do $400 or $500 million a year in residential.
Wow.
And they do the biggest houses. I mean, they build homes for celebrities. They do homes for big CEOs. And there's no games. Like, he gets them in his vehicle. They're going to look at lots because they want to build a brand new 10,000 square foot house. And there's no game. They've been waiting for 2 years to sit in his vehicle to go shop for a lot. And he's like, Dave, I could stop working. He's telling me, he's like, I could stop pursuing new projects right now, and I would keep my 100 employees, 50 carpenters, 50 in the office busy for 6 years. Unreal.
That's
so eventually
amazing.
that's where I want to be. I got a long way to go. This guy's been doing it like 45 years. So I got a long way to go.
Yeah. It's a long game, man. Not a short game. It's,
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and that's another thing too, for these guys that are listening is, you find someone that you want to be like and look at their company. And if you want to be like them, don't be afraid to reach out to them and say, hey, I just really respect what you're doing. I'd love an opportunity to go take you out to coffee and just kind of get to know you. It's not all competition crap. It's just get that out of your head. We can all help each other out. If I've had jobs where people call me that I didn't have time and I gave it to another contractor that I have a relationship with, he's fine. It's important to go and try to be around and hang out with the people that you want to be like, because they'll give you some tips and tricks and pointers. And the fact that they're even making time to hang out with you and kind of mentor you speaks volumes on their end and speaks volumes on your end, that they trust you and they want you to see you succeed, right? This guy wouldn't go get coffee with just anybody. Like the fact that I worked for him before, I think is what made him appreciate and actually make time for it. Because I've heard of other contractors he just doesn't even acknowledge them. He just doesn't even make time for him, but he actually responded to me, and it was a solid hour and a half of just absolute gems. And, he's a great guy, gave me some good tips, good pointers. And, he's like, we should make this happen, maybe 3-4 times a year. So,
make that happen, because guys like that knowledge is worth more than any education you could get.
Oh, 100%, 100%, 100%.
Man, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, David, this has been amazing. I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your schedule and sitting down with us and sharing your story and insights of the industry. And I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you.
Yeah, of course, Ryan. I appreciate it, man. This was fun. And this is what my end goal is at the end of the day anyways, just brainwash people to believing in themselves. Like, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And, whatever type of podcast it is, if I can tell my story and, speak some guidance and say some stuff that's going to help someone else believe in themselves and give someone else advice on how to be successful, I'm all for it, man. It never used to be my goal. But now it's just my goal is to provide for my family, provide for my employees and my subcontractors' families, and brainwash people into believing in themselves and being successful. So I appreciate this opportunity, man. It's been fun. This is a good one.
Excellent, man. Thank you so much. Well, guys, that's another episode of the Skid Steer Nation podcast. As always, this show is sponsored by Skid Steer Nation. So if you need your next American-made attachment so that you can go out there and bring the money home and put food on the table, head over to skidsteernation.com. We've got an assortment from buckets to sweepers to power rakes to graders and tree pullers and down the line, all made right here in the great US of A by family-owned manufacturers. They will last longer than the large corporate brands, and you will get more return on your investment. Head over to skidsteernation.com. So guys, until next week, be safe, be good, and believe in yourself.